fixing to go on trail riding tomorrow if nothing goes wrong, and somebody asked to ride with me. Most of mine are usually two-seaters because it's usually just me and my wife, but I've built this family rig and I haven't taken it out yet. Still got a problem. I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of bugs with it, but I figured I was thinking to put it on the lift, and I figured I'd kind of just show y'all what it's got. You can imagine it's not gonna look this nice for long. Taylor, you're gonna have to rock the Jeep around.
Help me out! He made this hill. Damn, this fucking radiator's hot.
Oh no, you done put a scratch on it. I'm in a tight spot. It's hard to drive with all this commotion and radio and screaming, and I'm not buckled up. Oh wow, you are in a tight spot. Yeah. She's on fire. We're not on fire.
We just burned a little rubber.
Just trying to preheat the tires.
Please let
You
me
got
out.
your strap handy, or not? Need to get mine. You got you.
Just.
Yeah. I don't know why it's sitting jacked up like that. It usually sits normal. Let's see. I'm gonna walk over and show you. This was I got everything donor stuff from another Jeep of mine. The Jeep was factory AW4, but I had a Jeep that we built, oh gosh, I don't know, 11 years ago, and the frame was just tired and there wasn't nothing left. And starting this whole channel, people would look at the Jeep and think it's a Razor, so I had to cancel that out as soon as I could. So I'm gonna walk over here and show you what I'm talking about. You can see my whole lineup of toys, I guess. There's my shed, I keep them under. But this one here is what I'm talking about. And it don't look like a Jeep. It's a full Jeep, but for whatever reason, when I was a teenager, I thought that it was cool to cut everything off of it, make it look like a rock bouncer, because I couldn't afford one. But I think I've got a video somewhere, I don't know, but it's just, I mean, you can tell the frame's bent. If I roll it over, I get some good shots of it, but the frame is just, it's just murdered. And like I said, I was trying to get away from people not knowing that it's a Cherokee, because that's kind of my whole brand. So back to this Jeep now. I'll show you, walk around a bit. Need to just take that thing and full send it. That'd be cool. Like I said, this is my first actual four-seater rig I've built probably ever, besides just normal ones. But this one should be able to beat on it like we did the other ones. These are the seats I got recovered. They're pretty cool. I guess it maybe neoprene, I don't know. And harnesses went out 99, but we're still going to use them. It's actually got a full dash for now. The shifter actually works. Probably gonna put a flip switch on it. And you know, people's gonna complain about the bar getting in it. I don't care. I'm not riding back here, so it don't matter. And one thing I did, I've never thought about this till the other day, is I'm sure people have trail rode with these harnesses, and I mean, they don't get any better for being strapped in, but they're kind of aggravating. So I just left the factory seat belts, and I've never seen anybody do that, but I still got, there it is. So if you're just, you know, leisure trail riding and don't want to fall out of it, I figured it'd be easier just to whip that thing on and not have to worry about the whole harness and everything. Let's see. So one thing is, you can imagine a gas tank's not going to survive. That's actually my exhaust. I'm gonna get on the lift and show you everything. But there's the fuel tank. Got it mounted on rubber, and then the radiator's in the back. I'm gonna build a shield here in just a minute to go across that, just in case something blows. But got that on a fan, and it's got a 2-speed. Let me see if I can get the seat up. One cool little hack is if you run a fuel pressure regulator, them regulators are, gosh, hundreds of dollars. So I figured out you can get one for a Corvette. It comes with AN fittings and everything. The filter and the regulator is like $22, so that's by far the cheapest way. And that fuel pump, God, I don't know, it's probably like a 600 horsepower fuel pump. I just ordered one, didn't read the size on it, but you can see I got all my mess jumbled up there. 2-speed fan controller for a WJ fan. I think it's 04 model. Got a coolant jug mounted up here. I don't know why that hose is there. Well, and then we always run our brake lines, they're on the inside, so it's just nice knowing if you run over a stick, you don't have to worry about it dragging a brake line off for the most part. And then especially on the thing, if you got around the, let's see, let me pop the hood and I'll show you. What I was saying, if you got to turn around on like a trail you didn't mean to go down, you got to shove it off into like the bushes or whatever, we got no radiator. I don't know if you can see it with a light. There's nothing up here at all. So just a whole lot of security when you turn around or hit something in the front end. You ain't got to worry about the radiator busting. Let's see. Still want to do an external reservoir for that. Hadn't got there. Throttle body spacer is only to keep this thing from being so 90'd up. You can see what a good job I've done on this. And power steering cooler, oil cooler, and then a massive transmission cooler. I accidentally ordered that, didn't know how big it actually was, but shouldn't have to worry about transmission running hot. Let's see, the proportion valve, I just get rid of it. I straight wire them, and I'm sure somebody will be like, that don't work, but I've done it to every one of them, and that's the best brakes I've ever had. What is it? I don't even know what you call it. Bar pin eliminator or something. These are like some TJ rear Bilsteins. I have no idea where they come from. Oh, the oil cooler. That's what I'm gonna say. Hopefully, I don't know where this video is gonna fall into the channel, but I swear I've rode the rev limiter for probably 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time. I mean, just absolutely flat on the floor. And with the radiator in the back, they never run hot, but I feel so bad for the 4.0s because the oil pressure will start dropping. So there's no way I can show it to you. I think I got a TikTok video made, but where the oil sensor goes, I drill and tap it, and then I think this one's got like a little screw valve, and I'll run it back to the valve cover. Where's this one? Yeah, it tees back into the valve cover right there, and it's gotta help. I mean, I don't think it's mandatory, but just something I do just to kind of stay ahead of the problems. And this one is the first one I've ever had. Cranks with a key. Like a luxury vehicle. I'm gonna put it on the lift and show you the rest of it. Just so you know, from that shop bay door to that parking spot under that shed, that's the farthest this Jeep's ever been drove. So I'm gonna take it on a trail ride tomorrow. Kind of nervous. For whatever reason, that pink Jeep, it's always run so good. Pink Jeep, I hit stuff so hard I bent the knuckles, and before we knew to gusset the seas, so I took a torch, and you can tell the tires actually laid out a little too far that way. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I'm sure they make one, but I got me a homemade light for the GoPro. Oh yeah. One thing I forgot to add, the pink Jeep was a 5-speed, and back in the day that was awesome because you could just, you know, pop the clutch and keep on doing that. Well, we kept on playing with Cherokees and realized the freaking AW4 is amazing. So this was a factory AW4. I think all I did was put the motor out of the pink Jeep in it. But let's see, got it on the lift. I'm sure I'll miss everything. This is stupid, but as a kid, the diff cover is welded on. I've got to cut it, which I've never had to take it off, but I got to cut it. And that's one thing I figured out. It's almost easier to cut and re-weld than make something boltable, if that makes sense, like removable. You can cut it, re-weld it, probably take you, what, a minute and a half, versus to make something boltable probably takes, I don't know, hours. RCVs for sure, inner knuckle or upper knuckle braces. I braced them a little bit. All this is plated steel. I think that's tube I cut with a plasma cutter. I need to tighten that. This is a WJ track bar. I cut it and pushed the front end that way because, well, this one hasn't hit. They'll start murdering the oil pan. Got the ground to tighten there. Like I said, I ain't even messed with this Jeep. That's a video for another day. Let's see. This is, I think, WJ tubing stem wall. There's 2 sway bars shoved off in there, and you probably wouldn't believe me, but let's see. Yeah, it was crooked, so I had to cut it to get it to hammer in, and I re-welded it. But I use like not a tie rod, a torsion bar or sway bar, and I'm sure people hate on it, but it's spring material, so if you hit a rock, it'll kick back rather than just bend and stay. I've had good luck out of it. Like I said, I know somebody's gonna hate on it. That's cool, whatever. And you can see welded the heim joints just because I didn't have nothing at the time. Oh golly, I can just go for days on these things. These are WK track bars in the rear. They use, I'm pretty sure 10mm bolt. It's a step up. I drilled it out and then I made whatever that thing is there. So that's kind of a gamble. But what it was, Pink Jeep, I was running like pit bulls, I think 33. They was too big and they rubbed. Well, I didn't want to have to bash all this in, so I cut some control arms and pushed the front end forward 3/4 of an inch. And so I corrected up there. There's some more metal. All this is braced up. And where I was going with that is now this stuff starts hitting the track bar. So I don't know if you can see, I've got 3 bolts. I've had to move it forward. And same thing there. I think you can see the pre-existing hole. I brought this thing forward. Kind of got a halfway skid plate here because I broke a few balancers off. The drive shaft, yeah. No, this is still double cardigan joint. The other ones I'm doing them different. I'm actually taking this yoke, putting on a 231. That's a 249, that's why. But I'm putting this style yoke top and bottom, and then putting the slip up there to keep it out of the rocks. And that way you don't have that double cardigan joint, because I busted a few of them. You can see a nice skid plate there. Got some bolts, U-bolts welded. And one of the things we do is I don't run a transmission mount at all. That's bolted solid. And I run like a piece of 3/8 and I lay it on top of here just so stuff slides across there. And I'm actually, this one I welded a piece of pipe so it bolts tight. My Pink Jeep, I just left it sitting there bouncing, and all day long it's clank, 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 clank. So trying to get a little better on my family rig. Another thing is these lower brackets, I've personally never had trouble out of them. I know people up north in the Rust Belt, they put big lifts and big tires and complain they rip them off. I've never had trouble, but I put that just so the bolts don't start egging the hole. You can get it real tight. And then this is just so if you get on a rock, it'll slide off. You know, people will say little things like that don't make a difference, but I'm telling you it does. These, I've never had any trouble with them. The uppers, they'll start pulling back. So I put a little piece there. Well, you can see it better on this side. Put a piece right there because they'll start just bending back. I don't even know what that's for, but I put it there. Aluminum 44, they say it's junk. That's never been unbolted. Fit like, God, I think I've had this Jeep 11, 12 years of beating on it. And I have busted the caps. I'll make a video on that. But that's the same rear end that's been in there this whole time. Oh gosh, it just goes and goes. Cool little muffler. The shocks, that's what's unique on this one. I'm not taking the tires off to show you. I ain't got to tighten no bolts. Let me get back here. Normally the shocks bolt right here to there, okay? So if you want more travel, you gotta have a longer shocks, common sense. Well, I don't wanna go down on the axle because it drags stuff and we'll back into them and collapse them. So my white Jeep, I cut the floor out and went up. Well, I think I showed you all my gas tank and radiator is up there. So my next option was to put like a, well, it's just homemade. I'll show you. This is a GM 1500 like front suspension shock, and that's a piece of a sway bar. And I put the other end of the sway bar link here so it didn't have much slack, and it's got pivot. And we'll see tomorrow. I put it on TikTok and everybody hated on me. And that's what I love when they do that, because I've drove around the driveway just to fuzz, and I think it's gonna work fine. I mean, it may be a little bouncy, but as hard as we hit stuff, I don't care if you have bypasses, it's gonna bottom out. It's just the way it is. So, gosh, there's one more thing. Oh, the drive shaft. I didn't remake that. You can see it's getting a little close there, but it'd be all right. They're 5.9 drive shafts, so that's 1330 yoke for instead of 1310. So a little bigger, and that's what I kept. If you hold them on the rib limiter for, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, the U-joints get so hot they'll actually melt the caps. I was going through U-joints every single time I rode. I put brand new ones in, and they would just go out. Oh, God, I think it's about got it covered. Oh yeah, one simple thing I forgot. I think Iron Off-Road makes that. You've got to brace that up or it'll collapse. I don't care how easy you are, it'll just start collapsing as soon as you land on the front end. This is kind of a hybrid steering setup. We've never had trouble with tie rods, but I wanted Heim joints on the lower end. So double sheared that one, and this is where I was going with this. It starts getting close to the wheel, and my other one has like flat plate. And this one I took like 1/2 inch cold roll and took it to somebody and they actually rolled it, and I had to do a little trimming and stuff, but that way it braces up the wheel and still have clearance right there, so that's pretty neat. I don't know if you can see the frame line. The pink Jeep, it's been bashed on the rocks so much the frame is pushed up about 6 inches. And I know somebody in the comments will tell me I'm lying, but Justin built the new one just like it. And before I extended the front end, forgot that part, it had pulled the front end up so much that it had bowed, and it actually shortened the Jeep up. But it was so cool because I had about 6 more inches of ground clearance, so every time Justin would try to climb something, I could just walk right up it because I had so much more ground clearance than him. About forgot to add this. Pretty much every one of our Jeeps, we take the air compressor, and let's see, it gets its air off the PCV, so it's got a little bit of oil fumes, and that runs, I usually run it to the ground, I ain't done it yet, and then we just run it straight to an air hose. And from experience, always put a little bit of hard line because it'll get so hot it'll melt that, but cut the wire to it, and it's fail safe. I hook it to a hot, and you can hear it pushing out some air. So I think that's got it covered on this Jeep. I'm sure I missed something, I always will. Oh, we got to get all these bolts tight, and I still ain't even drove this thing. The brakes need bled, and see it's leaking a little antifreeze. I spilt that. But like I always say, just shoot me some feedback if you like this stuff, hate this stuff. You know, I can do anything in the world, but I hope tomorrow we get some good footage from Trail Ride. But until then, appreciate you watching.